Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Today we are going through the Cestus Deception by Stephen Barnes. This book is a part of the Legends timeline and takes place in 22 BBY. And it's actually the last thing in 22 BBY that we will be going over. As a prologue, we have a HoloNet News, Volume 531, number 46. And it has a numerical thing. I don't know if this is important for people who go through the HoloNet News, but if it's helpful, it's 13:3:7. Bactoid closes down 5 more plants. Bactoid, which is an armor workshop specializing in droids, is being forced to close 5 plants because of Senate regulations. The planets these plants are on are Foundry, Ord Cestus, Telti, Balmora, and Ord Lithone. The closure of these plants will lead to 12.5 million employees being laid off. Chapter 1. Obi-Wan and Anakin return to Coruscant from their mission because Chancellor Palpatine has summoned Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan went to the meeting place and it is a mix of government officials and clones. He believes he is attending a war council. Chapter 2. The meeting was a droid demonstration led by Leto Shan. Kit Fisto was also in attendance. The droid was a JK-13, otherwise known as Jedi Killer in the crime world. The JK-13 was able to destroy a rolling separatist droid taken from Geonosis and knock out a Republic commando. Kit took on the JK-13, defeating it, but it was a formidable opponent, able to predict attacks. Chapter 3. Kit and Obi-Wan met with Leto Shan and Palpatine. The JK-13 is a force-sensitive bio-droid. It is very popular on the black market, specifically as a protection for wealthy people. The JK-13s are produced on Ord Cestus at Cestus Cybernetics. They use Dashta eels as the living being within the droid's circuitry. Dashta eels are the first non-sentient being discovered which are also force-sensitive. The Republic has gathered information that the Separatists have offered to buy thousands of JKs from the Cestus Cybernetics. Palpatine is sending Obi-Wan and Kit to Ord Cestus to try to get the planet on the side of the Republic and convince them to not sell to the Separatists. Chapter 4. Nate, an ARC trooper, and other clones fought a sea creature in the ocean on Vandor 3, which is the second most populated planet in Coruscant's system. This was a part of a military training exercise. They lost at least 5 clones in the exercise, but made it to shore where the exercise continued. Admiral Ari Kakan Baraka oversaw the training exercise. He is a member of the Mon Calamari warrior clan. It was reported to him that they were at a 1.7% fatality rate. Chapter 5. Nate returned to the barracks after the exercise and slept. Chapter 6. Obi-Wan and Kit do some research on Ord Cestus. Cestus Cybernetics was essentially founded by prisoners who were scientists. The company was successful and took over most of the planet. Chapter 7. Nate was given his next assignment, accompanying 2 Jedi to Ord Cestus. While he was researching the planet, another clone, Fori, told him what he knew about the planet and showed Nate footage of the JK fighting the clone and Kit. Nate has offered Fori to join the mission, as he has experiential knowledge in the area. He has also gotten authorization for clone trooper Surdy to join them. Surdy is the clone that had fought the JK before Kit. Chapter 8. Nate had a celebratory dinner before heading out for his mission. Chapter 9. Obi-Wan and Kit met the clones who would be joining them at the spaceport, as well as Barrister Dulb Snoil. Chapter 10. The group took off from the spaceport, ready to leave Coruscant. Chapter 11. Kit and Obi-Wan did some lightsaber training and discussed Kit's duel against the JK. Chapter 12. Obi-Wan spoke with Snoil about the treaties between the Republic and Ord Cestus, especially the treaties Ord Cestus are not fully following. Chapter 13. Kit and 4 of the clones were dropped off on the surface. Obi-Wan, Snoil, and the other clone, Zutu, are headed elsewhere. Kit and the 4 clones headed towards the mountains, where they would set up camp, traveling in speeder bikes. Chapter 14. Obi-Wan, Snoil, and Zutu flew to the capital city of Shitaklik, which is seemingly built in the tunnels in a volcano. Snoil and Obi-Wan were brought to the nicest hotel in the city, which was repurposed from a prison 50 years earlier. Chapter 15. Kit and the clones arrived at the cave they were told to set up camp at by one of their local contacts, Sheikah Tull. One of the other clones is C4. After a while of building the camp, they were attacked by cave spiders, which obviously had a nest somewhere deeper in the cave. The group drove off the spiders. The surviving spiders retreated back into the cave. The group got back to setting up camp, getting their perimeter sensors set up first. Kit went and met with Sheikah Tull. Kit wants to meet with the anarchist group Desert Wind. She is going to introduce Kit to Spin Dragon, who supposedly knows where Desert Wind are. Chapter 16. Physic, an X-Ting, which is the local hive species, which has been pretty much 90% wiped out because of Cestus cybernetics, brought Obi-Wan and Snoil up to their room. He knew they were important visitors from Coruscant. Physic is going to visit his brother, Trillat, the leader of the criminal underground, looking to sell that information to him. Trillat ordered one of his staff to be tortured for not properly taking care of his guest. Not his brother, just another guest. He then ushered Physic to follow him to his office. Chapter 17. Kit has returned to the cave with Sheikah Tull. The clones had finished building the camp. Kit is taking Nate and Fori with him and Sheikah to the Spin Dragon, which is not a person, but a suborbital medium freighter. The group went to the settlements. Kit spoke to the people, looking to recruit people to their cause if negotiations could not be handled by words. Sheikah spoke with Nate. She revealed that she knew Jango. Nate had noticed she was taken aback when he and Fori took off their helmets, and she said that was why. Sheikah had not known that Jango was dead or that the Jedi had killed him. The story Nate had heard was that it took a dozen Jedi to kill Jango. Chapter 18. One settlement did not have a meeting place big enough for everyone, so Kit had Nate give a speech to one of the groups. Nate was as effective in persuasion as Kit. Chapter 19. Obi-Wan and Snoil met with Gamai Duras, regent of Cestus. She is an X-Ting. Obi-Wan and Snoil believe she may be a puppet leader with a group called the Five Families actually calling the shots. Chapter 20. The clones trained their new recruits. Some left because of the challenge of a long day of training, but by day's end they had 45 quality candidates. Nate and Sheikah spoke more. She wants to know more about Nate, but is unwilling to answer most questions asked about her. Chapter 21. After a couple of days, a group led by Thak Vel Singh arrived at the camp. Thak said they were Desert Wind. Thak did not trust Kit and the Republic, but Kit went through a ritual of Desert Wind. When the ritual found that Kit was truthful, Thak handed over leadership of Desert Wind to Kit. Chapter 22. After their meeting with the regent, Snoil continued researching the Cestus legal documents and systems. Chapter 23. Asajj Ventress has arrived on Ord Cestus. Physic met her when she landed and is bringing her to meet Trillat. She is here to meet with the Five Families. Physic is intrigued by Ventress, although afraid of her. Trillat revealed that Obi-Wan is on Ord Cestus meeting with the regent. Ventress said that before she meets with the Five Families, she will destroy Obi-Wan. Chapter 24. Obi-Wan and Snoil had another meeting with Duras to continue negotiations. Chapter 25. Duras invited Obi-Wan and Snoil to a hive ball. They both expect something beyond casual gathering will occur during the ball. At the ball, Duras introduced Obi-Wan and Snoil to the heads of the Five Families: Debikin of Research, Lady Porten of Energy, Kefka in Manufacturing, Letitia of Sales and Marketing, and Duras's cousin, Kaisa Quill of Mining. Ventress went to the ball and watched Obi-Wan. He sensed some sort of danger but could not pinpoint her. She left before he was able to investigate much further. Chapter 26. Quill threatened Duras at the end of the ball, telling her not to side with the Jedi, reminding her of when he had killed Duras's partner, likely for not being as much of a puppet as the Five Families would have liked. Chapter 27. The clones continued training as even more recruits came to the camp. Chapter 28. Obi-Wan reported an update to Palpatine. Snoil continued researching. Obi-Wan met with Trilot, who has made the transition from male to female, which is a normal cycle for X-Tings. As soon as Obi-Wan left, Ventress came in and spoke to Trilot about the meeting. Ventress wants Trilot to gain Obi-Wan's trust. Chapter 29. Someone summoned Obi-Wan to meet at a bar. When he arrived, Duras was there in a cloak, disguising her image. They spoke. She told him she had no real power and that she feared the 5 families. She also said there was someone bigger than all of this using Cestus as a pawn in a larger game, and that the stalemate on Cestus may be their ultimate goal. That does seem to be what happens a lot in these Legends novels, especially in 22 BBY. It's just Palpatine just kind of manipulating events so that the Trade Federation and the Republic, well, not the Trade Federation, the Separatists and the Republic, just end up duel for a little bit on this planet, distracted, and don't really see the ultimate goal. Ventress lingered in the bar, seeing how close she could get without alerting Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan had sensed something during his conversation with Duras, but could not pinpoint it yet again. Chapter 30. Obi-Wan and Snoil met with Duras and the leaders of the 5 families to continue negotiations. After the meeting, Quill told her to come before the Hive Council as he wants to challenge her and kill her. Chapter 31. Snoil continued researching after the day's negotiations. Snoil found that Cestus Cybernetics had purchased land from the Hive using a counterfeit payment. Based on their status as a representative of the Republic at the time of the purchase, this nullifies the purchase, meaning all of the land sold to Cestus Cybernetics still belongs to the Hive. This would give Coruscant legal authorization to come in and return the land. Chapter 32. Duras has summoned Obi-Wan after her cousin's threat. Duras invited Obi-Wan to her death meal, as she knew she would lose in combat. Obi-Wan told her not to fight until Quill stung her. Then she would be able to stink back, killing both. When Duras was not defending herself, Quill conceded the fight and his seat on the Hive Council. He is still a member of the 5 families. Duras and Obi-Wan revealed the information of the counterfeit purchase to the Council and have the Hive Council on the side of the Republic. Obi-Wan spoke with Kit, updating him on the progress with the government and getting some advice on how to proceed. Chapter 33. Ventress met with Trilot before Obi-Wan met with Trilot again. Ventress wants Trilot to tell Obi-Wan the truth. Obi-Wan met with Trilot, getting some additional information about the city's industrial network. Chapter 34. Trilot is terrified of Ventress. Chapter 35. The group in the mountain is ready. Chapter 36. Quill, Depickin's son, and Porten were on a private train car, which began going the wrong way down a no longer used track. Kit jumped into the car and introduced himself as Nemesis. He said he was sent by Dooku. Chapter 37. Obi-Wan met with Duras. She was distressed as members of the 5 families went missing. Obi-Wan helped an engineer locate where the car was. He also said he had a plan. Chapter 38. Obi-Wan transferred from train car to get to the kidnapped 5 family members as quickly and covertly as he could. Chapter 39. Obi-Wan broke into the train car and dueled Kit, who fled before the battle was completed. Obi-Wan had also fought some of the people outside guarding the train car. Quill, Debickin, and Porten were extremely grateful for Obi-Wan saving them. Chapter 40. Back at the mountain camp, the group celebrated with food and dancing. Nate and Sheikah danced. After a while, Sheikah took him to a settlement about 15 minutes away, and they talked. Chapter 41. The settlement Nate and Sheikah visited is run with equality between X-Ting and immigrants, which is rare on Cestus. Sheikah got angry at Nate for his opinion that they lived an easier life than a soldier, but once he explained his position, lack of praise, recognition, or name, she backed off a bit and apologized. Sheikah and Nate continued to talk, less aggressively now. She wanted to give him a name, a real name, not just shorthand for his number. She named him Jango Tat, which means Jango's brother in Mandalorian. Chapter 42. A resource train car was stolen. They earned credits to help the widowed families of the dead Desert Wind members. They gave the pilots a message to return to the capital. Chaos is coming. Jango Tat asked Kit if his taking and choice of name was acceptable. Kit was accepting of the name, saying Jango was a fine warrior and having his namesake is an honor. The other clones were jealous they had not thought of the name for themselves. Kit trained Jango Tat, Surdy, Fori, and C4 in Jedi Flow. Chapter 43. Someone had recorded Obi-Wan pretending to fend off Desert Wind members outside of the train car before his duel against Kit. It was obviously a staged fake fight. Duras threw him out of the chamber as they were about to sign the deal with the Republic. Chapter 44. Ventress and Trilla spoke of Obi-Wan's failure in negotiations. Chapter 45. Zutu is flying Snoil home. Now that negotiations are done, there is no need for a lawyer. Obi-Wan told Snoil that he had done exceptional work and things failed because there was something he had missed. Obi-Wan is going to join up with Kit. The ship Snoil and Zutu were in got attacked. Zutu suggested Snoil take an escape pod. Snoil took the pod to the surface. The ship, along with Zutu, was destroyed. Obi-Wan looked to the sky and saw the ship explode, as well as an escape pod coming towards the surface. Chapter 46. Obi-Wan made it to the camp. He has reported to all of them how the situation has changed away from diplomacy. Chapter 47. Duras saw security footage of the Republic ship exploding. They saw the escape pod with Snoil in it and assumed Obi-Wan was still piloting the ship when it exploded. Duras is sending out a search party for Snoil. Chapter 48. Jango Tat led a group to pick up Snoil. They spotted Cestus security also heading there. The clone and Desert Wind group split up. One group fired upon Cestus security, not aiming to hit, just trying to cause a retreat, which was successful. The other group went towards Snoil's escape pod and picked him up. Chapter 49. Desert Wind was now carrying out sabotage raids, not killing anyone and leaving minimal structural damage, leaving places and vehicles in need of repair before work could continue. Cestus Security has trapped a group of Desert Wind members at one of their raids. Chapter 50. Obi-Wan, Jango Tat, and Thak were among those pinned down. They were able to fight their way out, especially when Kit arrived with more from Desert Wind as backup. A few security have died in the skirmish, as well as at least one Desert Wind member. Chapter 51. Trilla introduced Ventress to the 5 families. Ventress is going to take some JK droids and some special infiltration droids Dooku had previously ordered to go after Obi-Wan. Chapter 52. There are 4 infiltration droids and 4 JKs headed for the mountainside camp. Chapter 53. The combination of raids has dropped droid production by 30%. The mountainside camp is having a celebration in the caves after multiple successful raids. The droids have made it to the camp coming through the mountain. Thak was the first to see them. He was very drunk, and instead of alerting the camp to the droids, he hid behind a rock. Chapter 54. The JKs began capturing Desert Wind members with ease. Kit, Obi-Wan, and the clones began fighting the infiltration droids as they were using lethal force. Snoil saved Obi-Wan from one of the infiltration droids, destroying it. Unfortunately, Snoil was killed when the destroyed droid knocked rocks from the ceiling loose. Shots are coming in from the main cave entrance. The amount of forces outside is currently unclear. People are fleeing down side caves. Jango Tat saw Sheikah cowering in a corner. He went to get her out, but was shot while they were escaping. Chapter 55. Sheikah was able to drag him to the safety of the side caves. Chapter 56. As Obi-Wan was retreating with a family, the spiders came from the deeper caves. They attacked the JKs, which are also arachnid in shape. The spiders destroyed the JK in the cave before heading back into the shadows. Chapter 57. Sheikah got Jango Tat into her ship. They were pursued by security ships. She turned into the mines and hid from the security ships. While they were hiding, Sheikah kissed the injured Jango Tat. After a little hiding, they were able to leave the mines unnoticed. Chapter 58. About half of their force has been killed or captured. The only clone currently missing is Jango Tat. Chapter 59. Sheikah brought Jango Tat to her home settlement 200 kilometers away from the mountain to have him healed. This is where her children are living. Chapter 60. Brother Fate worked on healing Jango Tat. Jango Tat dreamed of repaying a debt against those that had killed people that had trusted him. Chapter 61. Jango Tat's healing is going well. Sheikah told him that she pitied him. Chapter 62. Obi-Wan, Kit, Fori, C4, and Surti have relocated the camp. Many of the recruits do not know the location of the new camp in case they were betrayed from within. Chapter 63. Obi-Wan went to Clans, a city built around a droid manufacturing plant. They are targeting the only two sources of water into the city to attempt to slow down production even more. Obi-Wan defeated a JK droid in the control room of the water purifying center and destroyed the console, also placing explosives. The battle with JK was tough. The JK had disarmed Obi-Wan's lightsaber and light whip. Obi-Wan had done enough damage with the light whip to finish off the JK with multiple punches in the same damaged spot. Kit and some of Desert Wind were headed to the aquifer for the city. Chapter 64. Kit disabled the control room at the purifier. He did have to kill almost a dozen security members to be able to escape. Chapter 65. Ventress met with Duras and threatened her if she made the wrong choices for Cestus. Duras then met with the 5 families. Chapter 66. Ventress met with Trilot. Ventress revealed that Dooku wants Obi-Wan taken alive, but she will happily kill him if Obi-Wan struggles. Chapter 67. Sheikah brought Jango Tat to a place where they met the Dashta eels. She, along with the eels, helped show Jango Tat what his life was missing and what it could have been. Jango Tat and Sheikah kissed again. Sheikah told him that she loved him, something he realized he had never heard throughout his life. Chapter 68. Jango Tat was living with Sheikah and her children. One of them asked where he would go after he was done fighting, but he, like all the clones, had never thought of what life would be like after fighting. Chapter 69. Now that Jango Tat was healed, Sheikah reached out to Desert Wind, and they picked him up from a neutral location. Jango Tat kissed Sheikah and went back to his life. Chapter 70. Desert Wind knows Thak hid during the fight and now avoid him. Obi-Wan and Kit return to camp, knowing if they fail, they may be part of the reason Cestus and its people are destroyed. Chapter 71. Obi-Wan was able to securely contact Palpatine. Once updated, Palpatine decided to send Republic ships to assistance as he did not like that Dooku and the Separatists had a presence on Cestus, slowing down Obi-Wan's objective. Obi-Wan joined the clones in the exercises of Jedi flow Kit had taught them earlier. Obi-Wan can sense a change in Jango Tat's mentality. Obi-Wan and Jango Tat spoke privately. Obi-Wan realized he may have had as little choice in joining the Jedi Order as the clones had in joining the Grand Army of the Republic. Chapter 72. Obi-Wan and Kit updated Desert Wind of new developments, especially that the Republic will soon be sending ships to threaten and attack Cestus if the situation is not resolved. Chapter 73. Obi-Wan met with Physic as he wants to buy a radiation suit from Trilot, so he can shut down the reactor at Clans. When Obi-Wan returned from the meeting, Kit asked Obi-Wan if he trusts Trilot. Obi-Wan never said it outright, but did mention that he had no reason not to trust Trilot. Chapter 74. Admiral Arikakin Baraka was in charge of the ship sent to Cestus. This is the same admiral that was in charge of the training mission that Jango Tat was in at the beginning of the book. He was not happy to be taken away from potential battles where he could gain a promotion or approval from his ancestors. He is ready to grind the Cestians to acceptance quickly so he can return to the real battles. Obi-Wan and Kit left the camp and ordered the clones to not leave the camp unless they were given another order, as having a clone captured would be very damaging evidence against the Republic. The purchase meeting with Trilot was a trap. Trilot brought Obi-Wan and Kit to Ventress and some male X-Ting. Once Obi-Wan saw Ventress, he realized how every plan they had attempted failed. Baraka and his ship, the Nexu, have arrived in Cestus space. Ventress revealed that Cestus was a huge bluff by Dooku. They have yet to figure out how to clone the Dashta eels, and probably will not for at least a year. The Separatists just wanted the Republic to overreact and punish Cestus, convincing other planets to join the Separatists. Ventress has changed the beacons that Obi-Wan had placed, which would have slowed down production with minimal loss of life, to a coordinate that would knock out the cave system that is the clan's industrial area, destroying the plant and killing all those that found the caves as their home, which is millions of people. This would surely convince many neutral planets to join the Confederacy. Chapter 75. Thak and Resta brought Jango Tat information of where the 5 families were hiding out. Jango Tat wanted to capture them and force them into negotiating. The other clones refused, saying it was against code as it broke the order their generals had given them. After a couple hours, Jango Tat decided to go anyway. Fori saw him and tried to stop him. Jango Tat knocked out Fori and left the camp with Thak and Resta. Jango Tat knocked out Resta after she helped navigate them to where the 5 families were, so she could go and start her own family once this was resolved. Jango Tat and Thak continued through tunnels towards the 5 families. Chapter 76. Thak and Jango Tat broke into an outer room of the hideout. There they faced a JK. Thak ran away. Jango Tat lost to the JK and was stunned. Thak had run to grab an explosive and sacrificed himself to save Jango Tat from the JK. Jango Tat couldn't get into the secure bunker, so he broke the lock mechanism, meaning the 5 families couldn't leave. Jango Tat sent a message to Nexu to hit his coordinates. They saw the activity on the power grid and assumed it was a secret base. Baraka was happy to fire on that location. Jango Tat had broken his leg when fighting the JK and laid on a chair as the bombing begun. Chapter 77. Ventress had the X-Ting attack Kit and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan told Kit that they could not use their lightsabers against the X-Ting as it would be a massacre. It was a more difficult fight, but the Jedi were still successful. Ventress watched the hand-to-hand combat unfold. Kit made it to Ventress first. She wounded him and knocked him into the lake. Then Obi-Wan entered the fight with Ventress. Kit knocked the platform Ventress and Obi-Wan were fighting on as Ventress had the advantage. Just after the strike, Kit passed out due to his injuries. Ventress and Obi-Wan fought underwater. Both had been able to put on a breathing apparatus. Obi-Wan wounded Ventress. Obi-Wan knocked out Ventress's breather, and his also fell. Ventress released what looked like an ink sac and escaped in the murky water. Chapter 78. Obi-Wan and Kit helped each other out of the lake. They then made it to the surface and were confused by the location of the bombing as it was not where Ventress had claimed it would be. Jango Tat had sent a message to Obi-Wan and Kit's ship telling them what he had done. They were glad he had disobeyed the order and saved millions of people. This also meant Duras was the most powerful person on the planet because the 5 families are in shambles. Obi-Wan contacted Baraka to stop the bombing. Jango Tat had recorded a message for Sheikah before he died. Obi-Wan and Kit showed her the message. After it finished, Sheikah cried on Obi-Wan's shoulder. Chapter 79. Obi-Wan, Kit, and Duras met. Duras has agreed to side with the Republic and took their original offer. Obi-Wan also asked that amnesty was given to those captured and fighting alongside the Jedi, to which Duras agreed. Chapter 80. Obi-Wan and Sheikah spoke. Sheikah cried some more, and Obi-Wan knew she was pregnant before she told him. Obi-Wan told Sheikah that Jango Tat would be grateful for the clarity she gave him, even if it was only for a couple of days. Fori, C4, Surdy, Obi-Wan, and Kit performed an arc death ceremony for Jango Tat. Chapter 81. Trilot woke from a dream to Ventress standing over her bed with her lightsaber ignited. Ventress left Cestus, ready for whatever disappointment Dooku would have for her. Physic planned on stealing some of Trilot's money, now that she is dead, to get off Cestus. Chapter 82. Sheikah held her belly and her baby with Jango Tat as she sat next to where they had laid Jango Tat to rest. And that is the end of the Cestus Deception. This was a really fun book. I read this book in 4 days, which is probably the quickest I've read any book, and I think that's a compliment in itself to how good the book was. I really enjoyed this story. I think it implemented everything I like about the Clone Wars Legends era. It gives me some emotion in the clones. It gives me some good conflict with Jedis. And Ventress is always a fun villain. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.